And good morning at 7:04 on this Thursday, December 7th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is a Thursday morning, and there's frost on the pumpkin, if there's any pumpkins out there. But we welcome you to our program, and we're on the air for Bates Ford, now located at 1780 Franklin Road. And we've got Paul Tubbs, the general manager, here this morning. We're looking for Ronnie Kelly, but Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you again. A little bit on the nippy side.
It's gotten a little cooler.
Yep. Well, this is your third week at the new location, and I asked you earlier how things are, and you're getting settled down.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the facility's awesome. The service department. I mean, we've got a glass that you can see out into the shop, and I mean, when people, everybody I've took over there, they go, wow, when they look at it. I mean, it's a 40-bay facility, and that's something that, you know, the reason why we did that is because we're over on West Main, we were kind of landlocked, and the facility wasn't near as big enough as service, and, you know, like I said, it don't take a whole lot of room to sell a car, but it takes a lot of room to fix them, so we wanted a much bigger service department, and that's kind of what we've got over on Franklin Road.
Well, with all the oil changes that you've been doing, and I think that oil change business has been growing quite a bit the last few years, so you needed more space.
Right, and, you know, we've got a quick oil change facility over there where we've got the oil set up at the bay where the technician doesn't have to go back to parts and bring it back and forth. I mean, it's state of the art. Everything is electronic, so, you know, when you come in for an oil change, you know, we've got 10 guys. The racks are specifically set up. They're quick racks, so the car gets up and down a little faster. The oil's set up on the reel, like I said, and, you know, we're trying to get it as quick as possible, but also we want to make sure we're doing a quality look at the vehicle. When we do an oil change, we do an inspection where we'll check your brakes, batteries, hoses, and all that good stuff.
And you're still doing that for?
$39.95.
On most cars?
On most, yeah. There's a little. I had a couple of people bring some Hondas or Nissans or, you know, if it takes full synthetic oil, we're not going to put blended synthetic. That's a 5-quart oil change, and it's blended synthetic, full synthetic. Some of the, you know, Hondas, Toyotas, and you know European vehicles, they'll take a full synthetic. Now that oil change will be more. Of course, when you do full synthetic, you can go twice as long on your oil change, so you get, you know, it's kind of win-win.
What about your hours? Your hours still the same as they've been?
Right now, we're 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 8 to 1 on Saturday in service, and then sales is 8 to 7 Monday through Friday, and then 8 to 6 on Saturdays.
Yeah. Well, so nothing really has changed there as far as the hours go.
No, we've kept the same hours. We're kind of getting settled in. One thing I can say is our inventory has grown tremendously. I mean, we've got over 100 new vehicles. We've got some of the hard-to-find Super Duties. We got a Bronco in that's for sale yesterday. We've got, you know, a lot of things to choose from. That was one of the things that Tony and myself, when we met with Ford, is they were going to up our allocation or our inventory because we've got a much bigger facility.
Well, I guess there's been some reps from Ford who've come to see your place.
Yeah, they come and toured it, and they were very, you know, impressed, and that was kind of one of the things. Ford has a mandated program that we went by. They, you know, if you notice, most Ford dealerships look the same, and you've got certain guidelines you have to go by and things, but they want to keep it, you know, all on the same page.
Yeah. Well, Ronnie has not joined us, and he is a Rotarian, and he's probably still eating breakfast.
Yeah, he had a Rotary breakfast. He told me he was going to try to make it. He didn't know if he would make it. He's probably still eating right now.
Since he's not, you need to talk the car part for him a little bit more, because Ronnie knows, he knows those cars and trucks.
Well, he loves that F-150, and we've got a lot to choose from over at Bates Ford. And right now, they've got on some of the SUVs, they've got 0%, which is something we haven't had in a while, with the interest rate a little higher than what we like it. You know, you can 60 months, 0%. That's on some Expeditions. I mean, some Explorers. There's an Escape and EcoSport, and also Expeditions got special APR. F-150s, we've got a slew of them over there now. And there again, we also have some of them Super Duties diesel trucks, which is very hard to come by.
You like the F-150 as well as he does?
I do. You know, one of the things that I learned, and Angela's got an Expedition, and when you travel, you know, I always thought an Expedition was the biggest SUV, and they're great riding vehicles, and the one she has, I drove as a demo before we bought it. but it's an awesome vehicle. But that F-150 has more room than any vehicle, and a lot of people, if you've got the cover on the back, the tonneau, where if you're traveling, if you're going to a ball tournament or going to Florida or somewhere where you can put your luggage or ball equipment, like when we go to the ballpark, we're toting coolers, tents, ball bags, all that good stuff. Well, you can put that in the back of the truck, and if you've got the tonneau cover, you can keep it, dry. And then, the kids in the back, it's got more room in the back seat of an F-150 than any vehicle.
Got about 30 seconds to talk about tires and batteries, which we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of tires at the new store. We've got state-of-the-art tire equipment. We've got 2 tire machines. We've got 2 road force balance machines. That tire machine will pretty much mount and balance it by yourself. It's the newest, latest, greatest. Ford's running rebates on tires right now. We'll meet or beat anybody's price. When you buy a set of tires, you get free rotation. Our batteries, right now, they got a 100-month warranty. You know well, your cars start good in this cold morning.
This morning, just
there you go. So our batteries, $159.95. We install them free on most vehicles. Some of the harder to get ones, we do have to have a little labor because it may take a little bit of time. But if you'll come see us at 1780 Franklin Road. Also, we're doing pickup and delivery, where if you need your vehicle serviced, you just call us. Shelly's the one that handles that for me, and she does an excellent job. So if you'll call Shelly and ask her to set up a pickup and delivery, we'll come get your car, service it, and bring it back to you.
All right. Well, have a great one, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you.
That's Paul Tubbs, General Manager for Bates Ford. Now at 1780 Franklin Road, the dealer that'll trade for anything it don't eat. 10 and a half after the hour, and most first Thursdays of the month, I feature a member of the Lebanon City Council. And this morning, I'm happy to have Phil Moorhead with us, who represents Ward 6 on the City Council. Phil, good morning.
Good morning.
And you and I both are agreeing that we don't like cold weather. There's a lot of us that don't like cold weather, but I'm close to the top of the list, I think. But you're here, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
You've been, how long you been on the council?
1 year now.
What's this year been like? Have you had a decent time? Obviously, it's a time to learn. You don't know everything if you have not served on the council before. There's a learning time there. What's this been like?
You know what? It's been a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, but it's been a tremendously good time. I absolutely love the job. When I first decided to run for office, Jenny Lynn Brinkman, who was the counselor before me, had said, this time takes a lot of job. Make sure you can commit the time. And I kind of took that with a grain of salt. And now that I'm in it, I'm shocked the amount of time. And maybe because, as you say, it is a learning process. So I'm going to a number of committee meetings that probably I don't need to go to, but I need to learn how everything happens and where the skeletons are and where everything is at. So I'm really enjoying it a tremendous amount and spending a lot of time at it, but it's fun.
Well, I know that some of these, resolutions, some of the documents that you vote on, they can be kind of wordy and lengthy, and I don't know whether you have time to read all of that, but sometimes the details is in fine print.
Very much so. We usually get that agenda Thursday or Friday before the council meeting. So not only does you come with an agenda, it gives you all the backup. So if you dig in and read, you can see where everything's coming from. And that's one of the reasons that I attend all the preliminary planning and SP annexation meetings, because then you kind of get to see a preview of what you know is coming down the pipe. So I do that just for that reason.
Been any real difficult things for you to vote yes or no on? Is it so far been pretty easy to make up your mind on what you're voting on?
For the most part, it is. There's a couple of things that I voted for or against. One was some time ago. There's a city ordinance about sidewalks, and every new thing now has to have a sidewalk in front of it. And at one point in time, somebody in our neighborhood was building where there really didn't seem to be a good connection point. But, I said, as long as the ordinance is the ordinance, this is the way we need to go. And number of the council members voted the other way, but I was able to get that through. And then recently, in another person's ward, everybody voted against the ordinance. And I thought, if you have a law, you need to follow the law. If you don't like the law, let's change the law or the ordinance in this case. So a couple of times I voted against the majority, but only because I've been a rule follower for a long time. So if that's what the rule book says, I'm going to go by that. And if you don't like it, then let's change it.
Well, recently we changed. There's not a lot of change. It seems we vote for a budget and it pretty much stays in place for the fiscal year, which is July through June. But there seemed to be a need to increase employee pay, and I think there was quite a bit of discussion about this. But if my memory is right, it was a unanimous vote to do that. Is that correct?
That is correct. Myself and Camille Burdine probably led that discussion. There was when it first came to the council for the first vote, I had not had any knowledge that was going to happen. And that was something that I brought up at that meeting, that everybody voted for it at the first vote, but then asked for a work session to discuss that before it came back for a second vote. I think we have great people. I think they're all entitled to everything they can get. My big issue during that work session and at that second council meeting was that I didn't like the process. If you're going to set a budget, at least in my family, you live by that budget unless there's an extenuating circumstance. So I think as a city, we might have misstepped somewhere along the way that this was needed midterm, so dramatically needed to be done. That was my only issue. I think the people are worth the money, and I think we're going to have a lot of talking about budgets and salaries when we look at the 24-25 budget.
Yeah. Okay, we've reached the time for us to take a break, and if you just joined us, we welcome you. And Ward 6 member Lebanon City Council Phil Moorhead is with us this morning. More coming up on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. They have a deal designed to keep you ahead of schedule. Check out the world's #1 selling compact excavator plus 0% financing. Going on now until the end of the year. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. The police are still on scene of this wreck at 1800 block and Gallatin Pike in Madison, trying to clean that up right now as traffic really starts to increase out of Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area. It's also busy on Vietnam Vets going westbound at Conference Drive as you get onto that ramp there going 65 south down into Madison. Hey, don't miss it this year. Enchanted Garden of Lights at Rock City in Chattanooga. It's worth the drive. Check it out. CRockCity.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Hey, this is Paul with Bates Ford. Have I got some exciting news for you? Bates Ford's moved into our new location at 1780 Franklin Road. That's right, Bates Ford's at 1780 Franklin Road, just off Hartman Drive and Interstate 40. We've got a much larger selection of vehicles to choose from, a state-of-the-art double-sized service department. So come see us at 1780 Franklin Road. That's Bates Ford, 615-444-8221. Bates Ford, the dealer will trade for anything that don't eat.
Yeah, 140,000, 140,000,
Beginning Monday, December 4th, Walker Auction and Realty presents an online auction featuring great merchandise from the Bates Ford moving sale. The auction includes antiques and memorabilia, as well as lifts, racks, shop tools, tires, furniture, shelving, and much more. For more information or to bid on the Bates Ford online moving sale, visit MikeWalkerAuctions.com. And we continue here on this Thursday morning. By the way, today is December the 7th, and December the 7th was the day that President Roosevelt said years ago would live in infamy because the Japanese surprise attacked Pearl Harbor, Sunday, December 7th, 1941. I was just under 2 years old. I don't remember it, but I've heard a lot about it. If you're just joining us late, Phil Moorhead is here representing Ward 6 on the City Council. I don't guess you remember anything about that day either, right?
I do not, but I actually had written that in my notes to mention that as well, because my father served in World War II, his brother served in World War II, and his other brother was shot down and was a pilot in World War II. So I definitely want to tip my hat to those gentlemen.
Well, World War II is, I've got a history book I got my father bought years ago. It's about 3 inches thick. I get a lot of pictures in there, and there's a lot about both the war in Europe and also in the Pacific and Japan and General Douglas MacArthur and all of that. And I have thumbed through that book many times, and I'm really glad to have it. But it was a different time, and anyway, we don't have time to get much of that this morning, but still, I think it's worthy of remembering
Absolutely.
and calling attention to on this day.
I agree.
Well, back to the city. As far as the budget goes that you did pass and then did modify a little bit, are you feel like we're on the right track with that budget and things are going pretty well?
I think the city's doing really well. Our revenue is up month after month, year after year. I mean, so the city is growing. It's doing great. There's a tremendous amount of sales tax revenue coming in that supports all that. I think that the mayor, the HR, and Stuart Lawson in finance took a really hard look to make sure we were able to afford that before they brought it to the council to discuss. So I think we're in great shape financially.
Well, we have a good surplus, as I understand, and that I think that's just nice to know. If we really hit hard times, we've got something to fall back on there, and it's a whole lot better than just having a $500,000 or $1 million over here. We've got several million, and that's good, I think. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. I'm a firm believer of a large rainy day fund, whether it's personal or if it's running a city, so that, as you say, you know, these good times can't go forever. There's going to be a day where there's going to be a hiccup in the economy, and we're going to need that rainy day fund, so it's good to have it.
As we look to 2024, and here again, this is December the 7th, we got 23 days or something like that left in the year. It'll be 2024. What are you expecting? What are you have some concerns, some anticipations, some question marks as we think to the next year?
As far as the city goes, I think we're all on the right track. The things that I have heard throughout all of my ward is people are concerned. They don't want more apartments, and they're worried about congestion. And so I think those are the biggest things that the city needs to look at. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of permits available to be pulled for apartments that have been approved in the past. So I think at this time, we need to grow, but we need to grow smart. And I think instead of chasing as much residential, unless it's single family or maybe even a townhome where you have ownership in your home, we need to be looking at things that are going to bring in more dollars to the city, more restaurants, more things that for the people that are already here. I think that we are on a good path, but I think we need to look wisely at our infrastructure as well as our sewer and water capacities, because those things are going to be the next hurdle as this town continues to grow at the rate it's at.
Well, I don't know how near capacity we are in any of those, but we do know that there's just so much there. And if we continue to grow, at some point, we're going to be stretched. And we need to plan ahead for that if we possibly can.
That's happening right now. Regina, who's in charge of all of that, already looking at things, better ways to service what we have, and then acquiring more property so that we can expand to meet the needs as they come, instead of, at the 11th hour, all of a sudden, you're behind the box.
And really, that holds true for water. It holds true for sewer.
Absolutely.
It holds true for our roads and congestion. And I don't know whether we've got some roads that need to be widened, or we need to have some new roads. I don't know how you address that, but we don't want it to take us 30 minutes to get from point A to point B.
No, the city actually is in the middle of a thing right now called Centrax, and that was Kristen Rice is spearheading that. And what it does do is it allows the city to actually monitor the traffic patterns and adjust those lights so that traffic moves easier. So, excuse me, when you are in town now, particularly heading west on Lebanon Road, the first phase of this is done where those signals are now coordinated. So depending on traffic, whether it's early morning or later in the day, those lights are timed so that you shouldn't have to get hit at every single light, because we do realize that is a huge thing. People are complaining about traffic all the time, that 20 years ago, I could drive into town in 5 minutes, and now it takes me 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So this new system will help alleviate that. And as that rolls out, it will branch out north, south, east, and west so that we try to make traffic a much more fluid thing getting through town.
Well, I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking this Ward 6 is probably less densely populated than any of the other 5. The other 5 seem to be a little bit more close together. You've got some wide open spaces in your ward.
I do. Ward 6 has probably the same amount or even maybe a few more people than the other wards, but we cover a great deal of turf. And I mentioned before we got on air, my ward goes from Hamilton Station all the way out to 109 and catches Spence Creek north of, Lebanon Road. So I have quite a large area. And so far, excuse me, my biggest accomplishment probably is that I've said no more times than anything else to developers, because people want to keep putting up apartments and they want to do a lot of stuff that's high density or distribution centers because of that interchange. And I have consistently said no to that. I think that's valuable property. I think I want that area to grow slow. I would like it to see more single family housing and more either office or restaurants, that will be appealing and something that the people in that ward want to have there.
How much of 109 actually is in the city of Lebanon? And I guess all of that is Ward 6.
Going north, it's Ward 6. Going south, I have a little bit south on 109. But beyond that, then I believe some of that goes into Chris Crowell.
Oh, okay.
Because he has down where the new Publix is. That's all part of his ward. But I go north all the way up to Academy Drive, which is a couple miles north of Route 70. So we are spread thin, and I'm not sure how Spence Creek got pulled into the city of Lebanon. That was long before my time, but because the children in there go to actually Mount Juliet schools, but yet they're Lebanon residents. So.
Do you hear much from your constituents?
You know what I did, which I think is different than a lot of people, was when I decided to run for office, most people that I ever talked to didn't even know who their city council person was. So one of the things that I have done is I've reached out to virtually every HOA president, and maybe because Ward 6 is newer, there's more HOAs, it's not just residential. So I've met at the annual meeting for River Oaks. I've met at the annual meeting for Richmond Hills, at Spence Creek. So I'm reaching out to all these different HOAs, and when they have any kind of a get-together with all their people, I'm asking, if you would like me to be there, I'm happy to be there. And I've gone to at least a half a dozen different annual HOA meetings and said, hey, I'm your guy. If you've got a problem, reach out to me. Here's my name, my address, my phone number. I'm here for you if you need me.
Well, have they responded much?
It's a double-edged sword. They're very grateful that you show up, but boy, you got to be ready, because they're throwing it at you when it comes to traffic and speeding.
Yeah. So, well, I guess speeding is something I've heard we've been dealing with a little bit more. We've stepped up our dealing with that here lately. I don't know whether it's all over or just maybe certain spots where there are complaints, but that's something that does have to be dealt with.
It is, and honestly, out of every neighborhood that I've talked to, from Five Oaks, the people there that talk about it, and Richmond Hills, wherever there's a cut through, it seems like not even in just my ward, in any ward. We've had people come to the council meeting that talk about Blair Lane, because that's a connect through. That wherever there's a cut through, it seems like people are taking advantage of that. And it's typically not the people who live there, it's the people that are trying to get from A to B, and that's a shortcut. So,
and if it is a residential area, people don't like that, especially the speeding.
Right.
I mean, when you have people who are almost afraid to go to their mailbox, I can understand.
Right. And a lot of those neighborhoods have a lot of small children as well. If you want to feel safe, they'll let your kids play outside in the yard. So we are addressing that, trying to come up with ways, traffic calming ways. We can't do a lot to the size of the road in some of those neighborhoods, but trying to decide maybe putting white lines in, skinning up the lanes a little, that hopefully that mentally will help people slow down a little.
Well, what kind of predictions would you make for 2024? Well, we hope for a good year.
I don't. You know what? I really don't know what to. I just, I love this job. I love the city. I really became invested in it prior to me running for office. My daughter moved here, and I have 2 granddaughters here. So I'm trying to just look at this city and say, when we go forward, let's go slow. Let's go very deliberate on what we do, and make sure that what we're doing is not good for today, but it's going to be good 20 years, 30 years, 50 years from now. So that my only legacy, I would like to be the people said that he did a good job.
Well, I appreciate you coming and being with us this morning. We're about out of time, and we've covered quite a bit of territory here, but we are dealing with growth. We are dealing with the things that pertain to that, and I don't envy any of you 6 on the council or the mayor, but hopefully you can keep on keeping on, and we'll all have a great 2024.
Thank you. One of the good things that we did was I sponsored an open space ordinance. So any new developments that go up that are residential, 20% of that space now has to be committed to be open, usable space for kids, which a lot of these newer neighborhoods just don't have places and playgrounds for children.
Okay. Well, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. That's part 1 of Coleman and Company. Keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, that regular oil change, $39.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal. And they're open in their brand new location, 1780 Franklin Road. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. A couple of accidents out here right now. It's starting to load up pretty good on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area, coming in from Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville. Starting to slow a bit at 65 south at Trinity Lane. Still looks good at the moment on 40 east up through Kingston Springs as that traffic volume increases, coming in right now from Dixon County towards Nashville on 40 eastbound. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken is catering this holiday season. Check them out online today at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
And now, a moment of silence to remember our dear friend.
Sorry. Oh, man. Life can be uncomfortable. Your home doesn't have to be. With a wide range of air conditioners, furnaces, and heat pumps, Rheem makes it easy to feel comfortable, even when you can't be comfortable.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Hello, we are A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction, community trusted since 1977.
One of the real joys of the holiday season is the opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for your business.
And most importantly, your trust in us.
From everyone at A.G. & Johnson, we wish you a happy holiday season.
Merry Christmas! Happy New Year!
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Happy holiday season!
Expecting sunshine through this afternoon, warming up to a high of about 56 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, that low back down to around 37. Mostly sunny and 61 for your Friday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. Let's look at your forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
Welcome to part 2 of Coleman and Company here on a Thursday morning, a frosty morning, this December 7th. We want to welcome our friends from A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction. We have Jay White with us this morning. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
And we have Helene Singer-Cash here. Good morning, Helene.
Good morning, Coleman.
And, of course, it's A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main. Website, www.agandjohnson.com, and that phone number is
615-444-0909.
And we talk so many times about auctions, and Jay, you don't have one to talk about today.
We don't have one to talk about today, Coleman, but it's close to the end of the year. The holiday season's coming on us, and we had one that we've got a couple of sales that we could need to get ready and need to have, but we've just decided that we think we'll postpone them to right after the holiday season and get started back right after the first of the year.
Well, you really know how to do auctions, and you have a lot of them. You've been very successful with that. It's something I think you really love. You love to do the auctions, don't you?
I do. It's a passion. We really love it. I tell you what, it's been a wonderful year. We've had a great year this year. We appreciate everybody that has came out and participated in our auctions, and also the ones, and especially the folks that put their confidence in us to have their auction sales for them this year.
Well, a decision has to be made sometimes. If somebody has, say, a property and especially a home and acreage they want to sell, I mean, they can list it. They can list it with Helene. They can have you to do an auction, and somebody that decision has to be made. And there's pros and cons. How do you help somebody decide which to do?
There he is, and I mean, we sat down with the clients and folks that are thinking about having an auction, and we go through those pros and cons with them and try to figure out the best scenario and what's best for them and what'll bring them the most money at the end of the day in the quickest way.
Well, is there a way to kind of figure out which is best? I mean,
there are ways, and every case is different. I mean, you just can't. There's not a crystal ball that you can just reach out and tell everybody exactly what the future has to hold for them if they go to have an auction. But it's just auctions are just a great way to market property, especially here in Middle Tennessee. It's probably the strongest auction market there is in the nation. The Middle Tennessee area. It's always been that way since we started having auctions back in the early late 1800s or whatever. I mean, you have a lot of cattle auctions and those kind of things across the United States, but a lot of folks that come in here from different areas, it's not the norm to sell property at real estate at auction. So,
well, if you have a very desirable piece of property and know that there's several people that would be interested in that and are willing to pay some pretty good money for it, maybe the auction that's the best way to go.
It can be, and a lot of times we're real successful with that, and that's just the pros and cons when we sit down and talk, and we talk about a piece, and if we feel like it would market better privately, we of course we're going to guide you to go that direction. But a lot of times it's the competitive feeling of an auction at the end of the day. It'll put more money in your pocket.
But to boil it down, you'll either sell it by auction or you'll list it and attract the buyers. Guess that's kind of where you come in, Helene.
Well, we do have over 25 agents on our team, and Jay's also a real estate agent, so Jay can list property just like I can, or just like any of the other agents. But we'll go in and we'll sit with you and we'll talk to you about the pros and cons of both real estate, private listing, or listing it at auction. It's a great conversation to enlighten the client as to which one is best for them, and they'll make the decision.
And you've had a good year on both sides of that, haven't you?
We've been very fortunate this year. I mean, the private market has been very strong as well as the auction market. I mean, we've been blessed this year. Folks of Wilson County and the surrounding counties have been good to us. We've been busy. We hope for a great 2024. Things. We keep talking that things are slowing down. Things are slowing down. They probably have slowed some, but we're not affected here as badly as a lot of folks are in other areas.
We are still a growing area. There's no question about that.
When you're 18 or 20 miles from an international airport and you're this close to a city like Nashville, you're going to grow in spite of trying to stop growth. You're going to grow.
When you see large industries still coming to Nashville, and we're still seeing the growth in Middle Tennessee that we're seeing, and when we talk about the houses that are listed with us, and I come back the following week and they're under contract and they're under pending. So we still see that growth happening.
Well, you have a trusted team of real estate agents, and there is somebody there that can help in just about any situation, right?
Absolutely. Whether it's residential, commercial, land, if you want to develop a commercial product, if you want to build a home, we definitely have some great land for sale right now. So if you're looking to build your dream home, if you're looking to build a commercial product, we have land for sale. If you're we have lots of opportunity for us. I personally met with clients this week that are looking for a new commercial product. So we have an agent for you upside. If you want to upsize, if you want to downsize, if you want to retire, wherever you are in your life, we have an agent for you. So if you want to give us a call at 615-444-0909, we can help you.
All right. Well, y'all have a great one. We'll do it again next Thursday. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Coleman.
All right. Jay White, Helene Cash, A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main. And again, their website is www.agandjohnson.com. We are 21 before the hour, and Tim Leeper is my guest for part 2 this morning. And Tim is right here with his cup of coffee. And were they talking about your shoes or socks a while ago?
I think they were talking about my shoes, but Helene has a shoe fetish like myself, so she understands that as good as anybody.
Well, it is good to see you this morning, and I take it that you're busy. You're pretty much busy all the time. Tim Leeper Roofing and Mama's Metal Roofing. You're still doing business, right?
Still doing business. You know, it's tapered down really. When it doesn't rain for 3 or 4 months, it certainly slows down. Usually, this is a very busy time of the year for us. So your October, November, and even first half of December is traditionally one of the best, 2.5, 3 month runs of the year. But no rain, no leaky. So we don't have a lot of calls. We're a little slow, and that's okay. Honestly, it's been a very long year. It's kind of been a grind for us this year, and so it's okay to slow down and just kind of, in the winter times when you get your equipment ready, you change your oil on everything and just get it ready for the next year.
I want to tell a story about you. You may know this, and you may not. We haven't talked, and this is totally unrehearsed. But every once in a while, I do get on the social media, and Facebook in particular. And the other day, somebody was asking about for a good roofer, and somebody suggested Tim Leeper. He had done a good job for them. But what was interesting about it was that a competitor in Gallatin got on there and said that he knew you and you were a good roofer and he would recommend you, but if they wanted to have him help them, well, he'd be glad to take the job. Something like that.
I hadn't heard that story.
I thought that was a really fine compliment for you, and I was going to share it with you, and might as well share it with the audience.
Well, that's very, very nice. I appreciate that because we all kind of do that in the industry we know who the good contractors are. We know who the ones are that aren't going to take advantage of you. And there's a handful in this town, and there's a few that I might not send somebody to, and that's okay. We don't necessarily talk about that, but the ones that are good, we try to help each other out. There's contractors. If I can't get the jobs, I'll call them and say, "Hey, are you busy? Can you take care of this person?" And they do the same for me. Mm-hmm. So we don't talk about it a lot, but it happens a lot.
Well, anything you're doing otherwise, you have, ever since I've known you, really, I guess the way I got to know you was when you were doing the work over at that softball field, and that's been a few years, I guess. How long's that been?
That was Leadership Wilson 2018 class, and so I think I probably finished that 2019.
Okay, so that's 4 or 5 years ago. I've known you that long.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go after something, you go after it.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know how to do it halfway, and so if it's going to be done, it's going to be done right. Whether it's building a house or putting a roof on or building a ballpark. And, some days I just think to myself, I'm like, I sure got in a little over my head on that one. I didn't realize I was going to, put that much time and effort and talent into it, not just mine, but other people's talent and sponsorships. But it turned out good, and it's still a nice project that we ended up turning back over to the city. So the city has use of that now. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with it, but they have use for it, for overflow fields and things like that.
Anything else you're involved in you want to mention this morning, or?
Just Rotary. Now I've taken a leave of absence, for Rotary until the end of the year, but I'll get back in there and get settled in at some point. And so I'm just kind of just going slow right now, enjoying really the end of the year, not rushing through anything, because I know next year you can never know how business is going to work or how the economy is going to be, but you can always rest assured that there will always be roofing to be done. if people aren't replacing their roofs, they will be repairing their roofs. If they don't have the money in the budget, they don't want to spend that extra income to put a new roof on their house. If they really need it, they will repair it. Rest assured, if your wife has a leak in your bedroom, you're going to fix it, or a roofer's going to fix it. Yeah. And so most of the time they're going to call me. They say, look, we just want to repair it for now, kick the can down the road, and maybe, a year, 2 years down the road, we'll look at putting a new roof on it.
And you don't have a problem with that, whatever.
Not at all. That's what fills the funnel. That's how all your replacements come to be. I've had several repairs that I would work on 2 or 3 different places on the house. It would leak around the chimney, and then come back 6 months later to be leaking around the pipe boot, and a little bit later on it'd leak around the skylight. And I finally asked him, I say, I don't mind doing this as long as you want to, but at some point we're probably going to have to put a roof on this thing. And eventually I put roofs on. And I can't tell you how many people that we've put 2, 3, 4 or more roofs on multiple houses. They'll buy a house and then they'll move somewhere, or they'll buy a house and 12 years down the road to have a hailstorm, and they'll call me back and say, hey, can we do this? But I've been doing this for almost 30 years now, so I've got a lot of folks that we've done business with.
Well, evidently you are a stickler for quality and for doing it right. I don't think you'd get all these nice things being said about you all the time if you didn't. And that's not to say that you've never had anybody that maybe didn't totally agree that you did a 100% good job, but for most of the reviews, most that I've heard about you, Tim Leeper Roofing's okay.
Well, I appreciate that. And, we try. It's, we have over, I don't know how many 5-star reviews we have. We have over 400, though, on Google. And we work for that, though. We don't, I tell people when we do business, and our sales team will tell people when they go out and say, listen, our goal is to get you to review our company, that we do such a good job for you, and we make such an impression, and your roof looks so nice, and we leave it so well cleaned after the project is done, that we make enough of an impact that, we just ask that you would give us an honest review. We're not asking for anything more than what we've earned. And so if we do a really good job for you, would you review us? We ask that on the front end versus asking on the back end, because it kind of holds us accountable to make sure that we're not missing steps.
Yeah. All right, it's time for us to take a break. We're talking with Tim Leeper this morning, Tim Leeper Roofing, and this is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota. They have a deal designed to keep you ahead of schedule. Check out the world's #1 selling compact excavator plus 0% financing. It's going on now until the end of the year. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still see heavy traffic right now coming out of Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area. Watch for a little bit of radar this morning down I-40 in Wilson County. Starting to slow at times through Millersville on 65 coming south. You got all that traffic behind it coming in from Robertson County down through that section of Sumner County. Don't miss it this holiday season. Enchanted Garden of Lights at Rock City in Chattanooga. It's worth that drive. Check it out online at crockcity.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hi, this is Wes Dugan. I'm your local agent for Farm Bureau Insurance, Castle Heights location. I've been serving the needs of the Lebanon Wilson County community for over 14 years and wanted to invite you to come into our Castle Heights office for a free insurance review. If you're considering changing insurance companies, you're welcome to stop by for a free quote. I'll even throw in a new Charlie Cat for stopping by. We will take care of your home, auto, life insurance, and health insurance needs. We're conveniently located at 214 North Castle Heights Avenue here in Lebanon, Tennessee. You can give us a call at 615-453-9702.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
Yeah, 140,000.
Beginning Monday, December 4th, Walker Auction and Realty presents an online auction featuring great merchandise from the Bates Ford moving sale. The auction includes antiques and memorabilia, as well as lifts, racks, shop tools, tires, furniture, shelving, and much more. For more information or to bid on the Bates Ford online moving sale, visit MikeWalkerAuctions.com. We continue here on this Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us. Tim Leeper is here. Tim Leeper Roofing, Mama's Metal Roofing. What else would you like to discuss this morning?
Well, you know, we talked about this when it was going. And I actually was at a guest of the morning Rotary Club this morning before I came over here, and they were giving away they had their Giving Tuesday, and so they give like 12 different checks to 12 different nonprofits, and I tell you, they do it very, very well in the Breakfast Club. They line them up, and they'll give them a chance to kind of share with their nonprofit. And I was there, as a guest of our sister's keeper and Sue Ann Bone, and she was able to receive a check this morning. And they have their event. That's now, but it's becoming an annual thing where it's the Boots and Shoot, and they're going to do that again on October 12th of next year. So I know it's a little early to talk about that, but that was such a good success. They had it at the Phillips Barn out on Phillips Road, and it was such a nice event, and that's something that I'm really interested in doing and helping with, because I'm not really on a lot of boards right now, and I can help. I don't have to be on that board to help. But I believe in their mission and what they're doing. And so October the 12th, if you'll kind of put a place setter for anybody that's out there listening, a lot of people that shot last year want to come back, and some of the people that had teams last year even want 2 teams this year. And so we're going to, I think, make it a bigger event. And there's a lot of folks that didn't get to participate that hopefully they'll get to this year.
Well, you sort of found you a niche there for another nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, I just believe in those nonprofits. I've looked back on the history of, my service and the things that I've done. I've served on the Help Center board, on the Rotary board, on different boards that, and even in churches, but different boards that basically serve people that don't have the opportunity to serve back. They're just in a place of need. And I love those boards for whatever reason. And there's nothing wrong with the other boards that serve different, the business community and other things like that. I certainly believe in those. But I believe in those things that, when the Bible says, when you're taking care of the least of these, you're taking care of me. And so I love those type ministries. And this is one of those ministries where they're giving to people that really just, they need the help. And they're in a place where they want help. They just don't quite know how to accept it. And you have people like our Sister's Keeper and some of the girls that work in that organization, and guys too. There are guys on the board as well, but you have folks that are going into the jails and teaching these curriculums and the other things that they're doing. It's just, it's really nice to see things like that happen in our community.
I enjoy having people on to talk about that. Of course, we've had Uncle Pete on a number of times, and he's big on veterans and the plight of the veterans is. And some of the situations that we hear about that, if we can help, I think we ought to do it. And one of the good things about we are a fairly affluent area. I guess Williamson County is probably the richest county in the state, and after that, I don't know how far down we are, but surely we're in the top 5 or 6.
We're a distant second, but nevertheless, it's still second.
Well. But to those that have more is expected, really.
That's right. Well, and in our community, and one of the Civic League members said it this morning. He was one of the ones that was getting an award here in Wilson County, and he said that this community is a very benevolent community, and he says they're giving of their time, of their talent, and of their money to support things beyond themselves. And he's right. I have found that to be true. The day that I came to Wilson County, I knew that I liked the area, but the more and more of the people that I got to know, the more that I really fell in love with it. And so, and I've told people this multiple times. I said, unless God moves me somewhere, I will die in this county, not to sound morbid, but, this is where I've set my life up, and this is where I want to do my life because of the people that I've met here, such good people. that I want to make sure that I'm part of that.
Well, we all wonder what the future holds, and it can be a little intimidating sometimes even to think about it. We do have our problems in this country, and there's some things, especially coming out of Washington, D.C., that a lot of us don't like. And I want to get political or whatever here, but we do have our challenges. However, we have been so successful here in Middle Tennessee, even when it's a little worse somewhere else, we don't usually have it as bad.
Yeah, well, they don't call us a volunteer state for nothing. You know, we have I remember one time they had a tornado somewhere here in the Middle Tennessee area, and it was very tragic, a lot of loss of life, and I remember the national news was there, and they were reporting one time, and they were saying on national news that they have got so much support. There are so many volunteers. There are so many people with chainsaws and bringing food and water and clothing that they have to turn them away. They just can't take any more. That makes us proud. That ought to make us proud.
Yeah. We got about 6 minutes left. You want to talk a little roofing again?
we kind of get off on other things, don't we? And that's okay.
We're expecting some rain here this weekend. You're probably going to get some calls.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, this is a time of year where you just don't know what it's going to be. It could be dry like it has been, or it could be extremely wet. I really do anticipate we're going to have a wetter winter. I've talked to some folks that all kind of feel like that's going to happen. It's been wet the last several winters. We'll see what that's like. But, you know, what happens is when you don't have rain for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden you do have a really wet time, whether it's a lot of snow or ice and rain, and those roofs begin to get wet. They get shocked, kind of thermal shock, if you will. And that will make an impact on those roof leaks. Those roof leaks that were just about to pop up in the next rain or two, it's not like they've gone away. They haven't healed themselves. And so when it starts getting wet, because we basically just pushed this problem down the road, now we're going to begin to have, you know, probably droves of leak issues. And sometimes it's the cold and there's ice on the roof and you can't do anything about it. Yeah. And so you had your chance, you know, but now when it gets wet in the wintertime, it's a little trickier. Now we have been out with torches. It's not ideal, and my insurance company, I hope he didn't hear me say that, but you know, but we have been creative to get people in real emergencies taken care of, and we hope not to have to do that. And so if somebody calls and says, "Can you bring a torch to my roof?" the answer is no. I'll just go ahead and tell you right now. So we're just going to have to wait till it thaws out, and then we'll get back to you as quick as we can.
Well, of course, sometimes the cost. If you don't feel you can afford it, that's why you sort of kick the can down the road maybe, and you patch it up and wait. But there comes a time, I think you already said this, sooner or later you're going to have to replace that. And I guess the decision sometimes is, well, do I dare patch it up one more time, or and you probably help in making that decision.
I do, and I'll tell you this is something that not a lot of people think about, but if you haven't had your roof looked at in a good long time, in more than 5 years, it's probably time to at least have it looked at. And what I would tell people is this: if you're close to getting a new roof, or you feel like you're close to needing a new roof, call me. Let me come out and take a look at it. I can assess that roof, and I can find the most leak-prone areas like your pipe flashings or any kind of metal flashings on your walls. Anything that's a penetration in your roof, I will look at. And if there's anything that can be done to prolong it, I can figure out what that's going to be typically. Now, I can't always help everybody, but I bet you I can help 85% of the people that call to extend the life of their roof between 2 and 5 years. I'm telling you, just 2 and 5 years, just doing the basic things. Doesn't mean you won't have a roof leak in 2 to 5 years, but you might take the chance of having 3 or 4 major leak issues down to 1.
Let me ask this. This may be a stupid question, but how important is the gutter, where you're draining the water off the roof?
It's very important for a couple of reasons. The water channels, the gutter channels water away from the building. If water just rolls off your roof and it hits down in front of your walls, that's getting into your foundation. And so as that water goes into the ground, it's saturating the ground, and what happens is that dirt gets heavy and starts pushing on the inside wall of your basement a lot of times, and that's why you'll have water in your crawl space. It starts buckling and cracking and moving around. So if you can channel that water into places where it's supposed to be and get it away from your house, that's the benefit of a gutter system.
All right. So that really has more to do with the foundation than the roof itself, because the water's already off the roof. It's where it's going to go.
Well, and sometimes it affects the fascia board. If water wicks back underneath the shingle to the edge of the fascia, or if it gets to a cut or a joint or a seam in that fascia board, it can make those leak and make those rot out. But really, that's a less importance than that foundation. That foundation's critical. Your roof and your foundation are two of the most important parts of your home.
All right, we got a minute left here this morning. Certainly nice to see you. Glad things are going as well as they are, and we'll just remind everybody, Tim can take care of your roofing needs. Tim Leeper Roofing, Mama's Metal Roofing, and once you get to know you're going to do a new roof, you make that decision. We've talked about the pros and cons of that several times, but you still do both.
Do both, and so if you got a question of which one you need, just call me.
All right, let's see if I got your phone number here. We'll just share this right quickly, 615-372-4713, and that'll get you Tim, and he'll be glad to talk with you, take care of you. 615-372-4713, Tim Leeper Roofing. Tim, thanks so much. Have a good one. We'll see you next month. That is going to do it for a Thursday, and I hope you'll join us tomorrow for the Friday edition, and until then, I wish you a terrific day.